Once you've completed your dynamic assessment, you should have a good understanding of a particular skill area that your student is struggling with. The first thing to do is identify the Common Core state standard that this skill level aligns to. So the first thing, this sample here is a third grade fractions. And the student seems to be struggling with basic fractions in this example. If I go to the Common Core state standards at grade level 3, and I look at the overview for grade 3, introduction, I see that one of the big ideas of the third grade standards is to develop an understanding of fractions as numbers. So when I go into numbers and operations and fractions, I will then see the main standards and all the substandards that are identified. This is a main standard, and this is a main standard. Under this main standard, there's a substandard and another substandard. Going back to the unit map, the first thing to do is to identify the standards that you want to address. So here are the Common Core state standards. All you have to do is put their abbreviation here of the standards that you're going to address. So the current unit is developing understanding of fractions as numbers. Previously, if you look in the second grade standards under the same strand, students are supposed to understand place value in geometry. Moving forward in the fourth grade Common Core standards under fractions, it says extend understanding of fractions equivalents in order. So the current unit is the current level of instruction at whatever grade level. In this case, it's a third grade level basic understanding of fractions. This is the grade 2 standards, the prerequisites for understanding the grade 3 level, and then what moves beyond is what is presented in the fourth grade standards under fractions. This particular example, the student identified each standard and substandard that would be addressed across her 4 lesson plans. I will also post these lesson plans on Blackboard for you to see. So essentially, the first lesson, understanding the denominator by comparing unit fractions, is with this standard. The objective of that lesson is over here. Given 2 unit fractions, the student will be able to create models and compare using denominators as reference and rationale. So each lesson in this example has one corresponding objective. Of course, within a lesson, you may have more than one objective. This area on the unit map is your assessment plan. Here is your diagnostic assessment, and that's where you've done your file review, your interest survey, your EasyCBM probes, your error analysis. This is your pre-assessment, which is basically your diagnostic interview, your mastery measurement probe that you created. Formative assessment is how will you address assessment throughout your unit plan, ongoing, to provide feedback if this learner is working toward meeting the unit goal and to adjust your instruction as needed. And then here's a post-assessment, which could be exactly the same design as your pre-assessment, with just different problem types. This is the pre-assessment before instruction. This is the post-assessment after instruction. Both of these are mastery measurement probes. Under this section are instructional approaches that you would address, for example, any vocabulary related to this unit and that you need to highlight and make sure the students have an understanding of. What are some essential questions that would help guide student learning. These should align with the actual lesson objectives. And then what technology are you using as the teacher to implement your lesson? So this technology is related to the teaching technology standards, or the ISTE standards, of how you're utilizing technology to implement your lesson. On the back side of the unit map, here are your instructional methods. And as mentioned in the syllabus, you'll need to show that you're using the CRA approach across all your lessons. You should have at least one lesson that you're explicitly using instructional technology where you address the student technology standards as well as the technology standards for teachers. One lesson should be at least an integration of another content area. This can also be real-world connections with the concept that you're teaching. In this example, she did a cooking lesson related to fractions. The use of a graphic organizer and also manipulatives, which is you must have in at least one of your lessons. And then other instructional strategies that have been used and taught in the course. Here, you're simply creating a list of all the materials that you will need to implement your lessons and the resources needed to implement your lesson. Below here are specific accommodations. These are specific to your student, what you learned about in the file review. And since you, or if you are working with your student, what specific things that do you need to keep in mind and make this explicit within your lesson plan. And then the student engagement piece. This is specific to what you learned in the student's interest survey. What are some things that you want to ensure that you include in your unit, in your lesson plans to ensure a student engagement. Up here is the IEP goal aligned with the Common Core State Standard. This specific goal is what would be included on the IEP, and it should be in this format by such and such date, given specifically designed instruction using the CRA teaching sequence, graphic organizers, technology. The student will show mastery of fractions at the 3rd grade level as measured by Common Core State Standard aligned math assessment with 95% accuracy. And here is the actual standard code. This example right here could be any assessment that's used. It could be some of you are using NUIA. If you have your easy CBMs aligned to the math assessments, you need to have a way that you're going to measure the student's progress. On Blackboard, I have created folders with information that will help you in making decisions about what strategies, content, manipulative technology that you'll use. So please look through those folders carefully when making decisions about your lesson. I want to emphasize that this is a draft. You will make adjustments as you go along when designing instruction. I just want you to have upfront a clear plan in place, but this is not in stone. You will submit a final draft of this map when you complete your final lessons for this unit plan.